That's the seconds that ticks by on a clock. That's what I hear going through my head every minute of every hour of every day. There's not a moment that goes by that some thought of Nina doesn't pass through my head. To think of the little girl that was once my daddy's little girl. Think of the fun, the smiles, and the hugs that we shared with each other. The feeling that she could have of the security of her daddy being strong enough to be sure that nobody would ever hurt her or take her away from us. Seconds of every day. I cannot even imagine what it must be like for her to sit there and think that the rock that was once her dad has just given her away. And that's exactly what these people have done. They haven't saved a child. This child never was in danger of anything. Or was she in danger of love and a family that cared for her so much? The problems that we face now are not problems that we faced when Nina was a part of our life. What this department does to people is tear them down and force them into the problems that they have projected onto them. We were never late, we never missed things, we never any of those things, but you're so fucking depressed that you can't even find yourself getting out of your own way. Because all you're thinking about over and over and over and over and over is your little girl. And as you're thinking that and your memories are slowly slipping, so are hers. And that's what they aim to do. They aim to make it go by enough time so that the child forgets. And they're reprogrammed to be loved and forget their former love. Where's the research and studies of how many lives the Department of Human Services destroys every year by taking one child in the name of safety? And I also want to see where the stats are that shows that that they say it in the name of that they have provided for this child in the long run helps. It doesn't. Because statistics show that most kids that are put into foster care and taken from their homes end up alcoholics, drug addicts, prostitutes, have all kinds of learning disabilities, so on and so forth, especially when you're taking them at the age of Nina. Why are people not waking up to the fact that what Children Protective Services are doing and how they are destroying the lives of so many people? We are giving to people that are head first into textbooks created by the left and a socialist type society. We all have problems in this country. We know this. Everybody's got problems. Lose their job, cars repossessed, homes foreclosed on, financial issues, drug problems, alcoholics, all of these styles of problems and dilemmas and everything. But we all have been able to work through that because we're Americans, and that's what the whole idea of American is. The choices of freedom and the fact that you pay the penalties for the choices that you make. But now, They're penalizing those that aren't making choices. They're penalizing those who have made good choices and seemingly be dangerous. I'm abusive because I'm loud and firm. Really? Really? Because if you talk to the people in my life, they will tell you that my daughter is the number one thing, the last thing on earth that would ever have happened to her would her have been harmed at the care of me. I would stop at nothing to make sure that she is safe and secure and loved and all set. My last dimes would go to make sure that she's, got the newest clothes, the newest whatever she wanted. I would go without. Mary would go without. Her sister would go without. All of us to make sure that Nina had the best of everything. And that's what she did have. And because someone wants to intervene in our life and spend just a few minutes going through a textbook and lying about what is not and what is, spreading lies about the situation in our home, trying to recreate an atmosphere which didn't exist. These things, these people need to be tried as much as we do for when they say that we are committing all of these atrocities towards our children. These people need to be sure that they are right before they come and just remove a kid from our house. Now again, I will say that there are children that deserve to be rescued. Yes, there are. There are horrible people out there in this world. There are horrible people out there in this world that are committing atrocities to their kids, and yes, they need help and they need a voice, and someone has to come through there, and by God, I support that 100%. But what we don't need are them coming through here and taking these children out of our lives. Children that are all set in their families, and it's all set in their home fronts, and all set, and their family has just come upon a dilemma or a problem, because that will always, always happen. These people need to be held accountable for what they're doing, because abuse and neglect is now on the hands of our government here in the state of Maine. That's what they have done, and they are committing the atrocities that are now penetrating my family, my little daughter's head, more importantly. You people of the state of Maine who vote the way that you vote and allow these things to happen, you people are responsible for the atrocities that are being put up against these children. I hear story after story after story of how the departments have just come in and taken these children, and it needs to stop, and I will stop at nothing to be sure of that. They have too much power, and it's time that we remove that from them. Until there's a better checks and balances placed, they don't get to run around with a rubber stamp and play God. It's too much power for a 23-year-old person that's just graduated from college and just finding an entry-level job in the Department of Human Services, which already is short-funded and can't run properly, and overexertion and all of these things. Well, if they're too tired, then they never worked a job over 40 hours before. They need to find another one. And if you can't function, and if your business can't function properly, then guess what? You close down. Isn't that what happens in America? You can't meet the needs or the demand of what your business is supposed to be providing. And since you can't do that, that shortfalls affect you as a business, that your business closes the doors, right? They're not going to let you continue to try after falling short, after letting you falling short over and over and over again. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, they're not. They close the doors. And that's what needs to happen here. They need to close the doors of this terrible, terrible entity of the government. And they need to start fresh. New regulations, new everything. How they jump on such a bandwagon of substance abuse that has now overtaken this country. They jump on this bandwagon and make that a green slip to go ahead and remove children from families. Really. 75% of the American homes have some sort of a substance abuse issue inside of them, behind their closed doors. You're just going to start taking everybody's kids? The United States Constitution says that you can't do that. Substances in a home by themselves are not a reason to show neglect or abuse. State governments are not following the laws of the land which have been put into place there because that's the checks and balance. Federal law supersedes all that of states. That's a fact. We are letting these people overrun our Constitution and our constitutional rights, the Bill of Rights, all of these things that were enacted to protect our freedoms. We are just allowing them to whisk them away and not be responsible nor answer for what they've done in their wrongdoings. No one's holding anybody accountable. The state of Minnesota gets it. The state of Minnesota now has said, no. No more immunity for you caseworkers who are going to lie and manipulate and change stories to keep a child, to make sure that you get the federal money, right? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Hurry up and adopt a child so the state can get their federal money. Because children are being used as a way of income for this department. It makes me sick that the front lines of child abuse and neglect in this country is kidnapping. Legalized kidnapping. No penalties, no nothing. And now our kids are property? Property of what? There's no contract that holds our kids property to this, because the United States Constitution says, no, our kids are not property. Our kids are not property. As a matter of fact, they are more valuable than property, I believe it says. So you have no right to my child. You have no right to a lot of people's children. Now, if you've asked for government assistance or any of those type matters, then, somehow you've bonded your kid into the government's hands, and, then there is the plausible reason for a fight. Well, I didn't. I have not. I want my daughter back. And I'm ready. I'm ready to go into this courtroom. I'm ready to go in there and fight like hell. Not violently. Not physically. That was just a saying. The same saying our president did. Fight like hell for your rights, people. Because no one is paying attention to this, and it's going to continue. And there's just going to be more and more and more and more broken hearts, heartache, child abductions through the government themselves. And we need to pay more attention and be loud about this. On March 6th of this year, there is a anti-CPS stand against Child Protective Services planned for nationwide. There's online venues. There's, you go to your courthouse, stand out in front with signs, all that. I will be here in Maine doing one. I'm going to get all the information up here over this weekend, so please put that date on your calendar, March 6th, for this anti-CPS demonstration. Come on, people, wake up. We got to do something, and we got to do it now. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there with the knowledge that is needed to defeat these homewreckers, and they're just not coming forth, whether they're scared, whether they don't want to get involved. Most people are happened is that they're so afraid of what the arm's reach of Department of Human Services is to them, that they're afraid that their homes, their lives, everything will be destroyed if they give a hand. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Isn't that tyranny? Ruling with fear? Isn't that terrible that they have people following you around, listening to your phone calls and all of these freedoms that we've been given by blood, sweat, and tears of our former U.S. soldiers through the past, as many as we had conflicts and wars. They gave us that right. They gave us the right to stand up to our government and say, no, this is not right. Please fix this. And if they're not listening, then you have the power of voting to get them the hell out of here, so that someone that will vote in the favor of this so uncommon reasoning is visited and implicated. So I don't know if you heard in that previous segment that I did, but that was one that I did last night where I was sitting there and I'm feeling bad for myself, sitting there being upset and, wondering what I'm going to do and, what's going on with Nina. And I am sad for Nina. Don't get me wrong. I'm very sad for Nina. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm fucking pissed. I've had enough of the bullshit. I've had enough of the lies. And I've had enough of this fucking stealing that's gone on of my kid. Enough's enough. We, the people of the United States, allow these people to get away with lying and stealing our kids legally. And all of you that are listening to this, which are only a few of you, because too many of you are too fucking scared to listen to what's reality and what's the truth, these people are stealing our kids. Point blank and simple. Letting our kids go months at a time so that they ruin the bonds that they have created with us since they were born. Ruining the bonds that they have with the family that already is here and has existed since the day they were born. And then getting these therapists to say, oh, well, they don't have a bond. Well, no shit, because you haven't allowed them to have a bond. You take the visits away from the people. You take the visits away from the parents. This is wrong, and you people need to wake up. You think that this is okay? Let me go ahead and take Dolly Sue, next door neighbor here. Let me just go ahead and take her and tell her that she can't talk to you anymore. Let me see how you guys react then. I'll bet the whole neighborhood would come together, wouldn't they? But no, nobody wants to listen to the whole, oh, we didn't do anything wrong thing, do you? You don't want to listen to the fact that our kids were stolen, do you? You don't want to accept the fact that this just happens right underneath your noses, and it could possibly be you. You got some things stacked up you got some dirty dishes stacked up in the sink. Bang, there you go. You're a hoarder. It's that simple, and it happens. You flub up, you don't pay a fine, you go to jail because of it. Bang, they'll come take your kids. Does that seem like a reason to take your kids because you didn't pay your fine? This is America, people. We don't steal people's children. But for some reason, it's allowed here. And for some reason, the people of the United States are letting it happen here. And it's been going on and on and on. And the worst part is I don't even talk about the disgusting, nasty things that happen in places like Arizona and Texas and California. Because I'm up here in Maine, and our kids are too also being sold, but not like they are down there. Up here, we're getting the posh families, the ones that are spending $40,000 or $50,000 on buying these kids. Down there, their kids are being sold to be raped. That's disgusting, and I hate to say it, but that's the facts. And you people need to wake up. You need to listen to this podcast, and you need to spread this podcast around, because this is wrong, and this is tyranny. $50 million Jews died in World War II because everybody wanted to turn their backs and they didn't want to believe Adolf Hitler was doing what he was doing. 50 million. How many American children are going to be missing and sold to rapists and pedophiles and all of these things before you people wake up? This is real, people. The facts are the facts, and they are there. You don't want to believe them, well, that's your own fault. But don't come crying to a system or to the help and the aid of others or looking for aid from others when you don't now all of a sudden have your kid because you did something that was so minute, something so minute, that all of a sudden you're being told you can't be a parent anymore and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. Now, in my case, there's so much crookedness, the crooked man wouldn't even be able to handle it. There's so much dirty business going on in my case, and not a person is helping me. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have support, because I do have people on Twitter and things like that are helping me. You know, supporting me, giving me guidance, things like that. But the more and more I'm looking into this stuff, the worse and worse it gets. This stuff gets so deep, you need a shovel just to get to the bottom of it. I miss my little girl more than anything on this earth. And to know that she's been stolen by these radicals for money. Just look, state of Maine, look at this new bill that just came through to put all this money into substance abuse families. Families of, why aren't they putting this money? They're putting it into the care and all of that of the people that take care of these substance abuse children. Children of substance abuse families. Sorry about that. Why don't you put that into a program to help the substance abuse families and keep the families together? No, because it's too easy to go ahead and label a guy with a bag of weed or something stupid like that just got hooked up on one night charge, and all of a sudden you guys can come in and take their family away from them. It's easy money for you, state of Maine. Easy money. And this is ridiculous that you even allow this to happen. In a state that just made marijuana legal, you're going to go ahead and now still take the kids away from people of substance abuse issues, which the American with Disability Acts have taken and now said that people that are opiate abusers are classified under that. So the state of Maine, you are going against the ADA and you are violating human rights. Now what do we need? We need people to push that. Are you strong enough to push that? Are you strong enough to stand up for this? My kid has been stolen from me and kept from me and imprisoned from me. Those are facts. Be that as it may, bet you no one does anything to help me out. I've called the news agencies. I've called all kinds of places. I've called senators. I've called the governor's office. I've called all of these people, and no one, not one, even a return phone call. And I didn't send one. And I didn't send one acting like a lunatic. I sent it with clear and convincing evidence to prove that this is going on, and not one person has responded. And then lo and behold, what do I see? I see this new bill brought out for all this funding. And every person that I've sent letters to have signed this bill. March 6th is a stand up against CPS Day. I suggest all of you get on the bandwagon and learn this stuff. I'll be putting some things up on my website that's going to be launching here in the next couple of days, because it's time to blow the roof off this thing, because my daughter's never coming home unless I can expose this and expose it fast. People, this is real. I've talked to too many people with the similarities are right there, and you can't ignore that. Life, there's nothing coincidental in life. There's a reason, and that reason is money. So please, I beg you, pay attention, get educated, do something. Because while you sit there sipping your coffee, listening to this podcast, thinking it's a chintzy lunatic talking, there's another kid that's being taken away from their family, another family being destroyed by people that aren't even qualified to work at the 7-Eleven. I'm begging you, please, stand up to this. Support the people that need you. Because when you've been in this fight for a year, 2 years, some people 4 years, whatever, trying to get their kids back, what is that? Is someone that's fought for a year, 2 years, even a couple of days, does that show you that they don't want their kids? Does that neglect? Is that abuse? Hell no, it's not. That's called loyalty. That's called caring. It's called commitment. It's called love. Come on, people. Stand up to this, please. Send this podcast around. Let people listen. Let them just hear a little bit. Do the research yourself. Look at Georgette Truan's. She's got a show on, the reality show about kids that are taken from their families. Vincent Davis, look at his law firm. Family Legal Association, look at them. There's a whole slew of people fighting this, but no one backing them. So we need some glue to put this thing together, and I hope it's this podcast. So spread this podcast, please. The next generation depends on this. Hey everybody, this is Darren. I just want to make one thing clear here. Whenever I make little annotations about, I made a couple of comments about store workers and, I'm not demeaning the job settings themselves. What I'm trying to make note to is the fact that it's just a job about a paycheck. If your job commitment is these stores and you love it and that's your life, awesome for you. But a bunch of people I talk to that work at these convenience stores, it's just a paycheck to get them through a hard time or a platform to move to something else. That's all I mean by that. I don't mean in any way, I'm not demeaning any people. What you do with your life and what you do amongst it is awesome. So please, no one, don't take anything that I say when I'm making those comments the wrong way. I appreciate you guys listening. I'm coming back. I got a lot of piss and vinegar here, guys. So get ready. I'm doing this next episode now. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Pass it along, please. Let's get the word out. We got a lot of things coming up. We got a lot of things we got to do. All right? Thank you guys very much. Stay tuned for the next episode.